Welcome back, dear traveler. You've joined us for another exclusive voyage aboard Star Tours Unlimited, where every destination has been personally selected for its historical gravity, architectural significance, and survival rarity. Today's itinerary will take you to 3 unforgettable sites, each one a monument to what remains after biology gives up, but something else keeps building. Please note, post-visit reconstruction of memory architecture is complimentary, though not always complete. Let us begin your descent into silence. First, we arrive at the ossuarium horizon, a seemingly endless plain of calcified towers, each one grown from unknown biological intention. They reach upward with quiet grace, arranged in clusters that suggest ritual. But there are no records of who, or what, died here, only that the towers are still forming. Guests may walk between the bone pillars at their own pace. Please remain calm if one pulses. They do not react to aggression, only to memory. Some visitors report hearing a name whispered from behind them. It is never their own. Until it is. The ossuarium horizon. Where the dead are not buried, they bloom. Our second offering is the Shatter Court of the Grieving King, an obsidian ruin broken perfectly into thousands of razor-sharp shards, as if the world itself tried to mirror his sorrow, then gave up halfway through. At the center sits the throne, unmoved, occupied. The figure has no face, but if you speak aloud near the dais, it may turn. Guides will offer voice-dampening masks for your safety. We do not recommend prayer. Visitors have reported temporal skip patterns, emotional inversions, and the brief sensation of mourning something that hasn't happened yet. Some even recall ruling. Poorly. Shatter Court of the Grieving King. Every throne demands something. Some demand you. Our final stop is the stillbirth engine of Helix Prime, a planetary-scale machine built for a purpose no longer remembered. Its gears still turn, its pipes still bleed, its lights flicker in patterns that almost mean something. Beneath the structure lies the heart. It beats, but it does not pump blood. It pulses code. Or maybe regret. Guests are not permitted to touch the interface walls. They will respond anyway. Some excursions report data leak stigmata, recursive dreaming, and limited mechanical possession. Not permanent. Usually. The stillbirth engine of Helix Prime. You can't shut it down. It was never really alive. You've walked where gods failed to rise, where grief built monuments from bone and steel, and where silence was engineered with purpose. On behalf of all of us here at Star Tours Unlimited, we thank you for choosing destinations that defy logic and linger in the bones. We hope your reflection finds its way back. Until next cycle, may the ruins know your footsteps and forget the rest of you. Thank you for choosing Star Tours Unlimited, licensed purveyors of awe, risk, and atmospheric instability. Your itinerary today includes 3 rare weather class anomalies. They are unpredictable, unregulated, and absolutely unforgettable. Please note, Star Tours Unlimited is not responsible for dimensional fatigue, auditory distortion, or permanent disassociation from self. Enjoy your stay. Now approaching Prism Gale Flats, a destination for the discerning traveler who finds beauty in fragmentation. Once a mirror dessert on the fringe of Elytrium V's refractive pole, the flats are now home to what meteorologists refer to, somewhat inadequately, as a lightburst storm loop. Here, wind exceeds 800 kilometers per hour, but travels in nonlinear motion, bending around time pockets and memory zones. What this means for you, the guest: sky bursts of pure color that cascade like oil through fractured air, and gusts that rearrange how your senses interpret reality. You may feel warmth in one eye and sorrow in the other. You may taste a thought you haven't had yet. We recommend protective eyewear, light-slicing veils, and a reflective tether to help maintain subjective identity. Most guests report the experience as enlightening. Some report it before arriving. Please avoid staring into the prism refractions for extended periods. They have been known to stare back. Prism Gale Flats. Shatter your expectations. Now stabilizing above, Umbrosurge Station, a facility suspended over one of the galaxy's only confirmed nullstorm events. This high-orbit platform rests at the edge of atmospheric collapse, where lightless lightning pierces upward through a rift in space. The bolts don't illuminate. They erase. And yet, the phenomenon is stable enough to accommodate visitors. For now. The station itself is magnetically shielded and semi-autonomous. That said, all electronics tend to fail after the second hour, including internal ones. Guests have reported strange side effects, forgetting how many fingers they have, mishearing their own thoughts, or experiencing brief conversations with versions of themselves that should not exist. These side effects are temporary in most cases. All travelers are issued a blackout cloak, a one-use memory flare, a reality tether in the form of a ceramic object engraved with your name or closest approximation. Should you find yourself floating without movement, signal a guide via internal thought loop. They're trained to retrieve lost cognition with minimal fracture. Umbro Surge Station. Lose the light. Find yourself. Now descending into the Aeon Mist, home of the living fog. Located on the mist plains of Karuvi Delta, this destination is unlike any other. The atmosphere here is not only sentient, it's deeply nostalgic. Within minutes of entry, the fog begins to generate architectural constructs using your subconscious. Cathedrals made of memory, houses you've only seen in dreams, people you thought were gone, or never were. The fog does not mean harm, but it does not understand boundaries. You may see versions of yourself. You may be asked questions you've never heard in a language you've never spoken. You may be led by the hand towards something you don't remember wanting. Please do not follow anyone out of visual range, especially if they use your voice. All excursions into the mist are limited to 11 minutes, monitored by spatial anchors and pulse mirroring sensors. Should you exceed this time, retrieval protocols are automatic, but success is statistically rare. For your comfort, guests are issued a dream anchor, an echo suppressor, a post-excursion memory bomb, standard or scented. The Aeon Mist, is not responsible for permanent déjà vu or the inability to distinguish memory from forecast. This is not a simulation. This is you, refracted. The Aeon Mist, where what you see already missed you. You've traveled well, brave passenger, through fractured skies, through null-light storms, into the breath of memory itself. We at Star Tours Unlimited thank you for choosing the path of impossible beauty and calculated peril. Until next cycle, may the weather know your name and choose to forget it. Welcome, and thank you for selecting Star Tours Unlimited. Today's destinations have been curated for guests with a taste for the biological sublime. Where evolution didn't fail, it simply chose violence. Please be advised, extended exposure may result in mild genetic duplication, memory slippage, or unlicensed reproduction. Do not ingest local water. Do not trust familiar voices. Do not let anything mimic your breath pattern. Let us begin. Our first destination, the breeding forest of Zalthar. At first glance, this appears to be a standard Class 4 jungle biome, but aerial scans confirm it is a singular life form, extending over 12,000 kilometers. The trees are appendages. The vines are digestive probes. The birds are neural decoys. Guests walk along soft, padded roots that simulate leaf litter. It will feel welcoming. That is intentional. Every breeze is a hormonal lure. Every fruit contains a reproductive trigger. No two guests report the same hallucinations, just the same. Longing. You may feel watched. You are, but not by something above you, by something beneath. The breeding forest of Zalthar. Fertility without consent. Now approaching, the swarm cathedral of Ilvik Prime. Visible from orbit, this structure gleams like a temple. Its spires perfect, geometric, and pulsing. It is not architecture. It is Buula colony behavior. Billions of cooperative hive beasts form the cathedral's shape. They sing in tones optimized for cortical submission. You may smile involuntarily. You may walk forward without choosing to. Do not speak once inside. It listens. Guests who enter past the 6th chamber are considered replication-grade biomass. They may appear to exit. They may even wave. They are not eligible for reboarding. The Swarm Cathedral of Ilvik Prime. Your shell will serve beautifully. Our final experience, the Nemephage Pools. Discovered beneath the crust of a failed terraforming zone, these shimmering pools exhibit behavior consistent with Simao's sentient fluid consciousness. They do not reflect you. They remember Kronu you. A single drop is enough to extract several days of memory. Submersion can trigger full psychological inversion. Some guests emerge fluent in dead languages, or unable to recognize their own name. Please wear a full containment suit rated for conceptual breach. If the water begins whispering in your voice, leave immediately. Do not offer it your past. It may not return it. The same way. The Nemephage Pools. You were always going to forget something. Now you get to choose. You have completed your journey through the forbidden libraries of biology. Not gardens. Not ecosystems. Not homes. These were bodies. These were minds. These were invitations. Thank you for exploring with Star Tours Unlimited. We hope your genetic integrity remains mostly intact. And if not, we hope you enjoy your new form. Until next cycle, may your breath remain your own. Welcome, guest. You are entering a corridor once reserved for science, logic, and ordered advancement. But sometimes the quest for understanding becomes a pale request to be unmade. Today's itinerary includes 3 facilities that pushed the boundary of possibility and found what lies just beyond it. These are not ruins. These are still calculating. Please remain still if you feel yourself begin to phase. It may not be your turn. First, we descend to the aperture array at Silex 4. The original structure was a simple lens, a recursive instrument designed to observe adjacent dimensions. The lens worked. It saw something looking back. Now the array loops between arrival and escape. The walls flicker in time. The air feels paused. Visitors have witnessed themselves, arriving before arrival, and leaving without leaving. Do not trust your reflection. It may be slightly ahead of you, and it's impatient. The aperture array at Silex 4. Once it opened, it forgot how to close. Next, we approach Vault Omega 3, originally built for safe multiversal identity overlay. Its goal: stabilize overlapping variants of a single subject across timelines. It worked. Briefly. Then came divergence. Now, the vault is populated with echo-humanoids, partially merged selves in constant phase conflict. They walk corridors backwards. They talk in layers. They scream in languages that aren't quite wrong, just misaligned. Visitors are advised not to respond if addressed. If it's a version of you, it already knows how you'll answer. Vault Omega 3. Every self you could have been, once your spot back. Finally, we drift toward the Logic Scar on Vecron 9. There was once a research site here. Now it's an abstract. Staircases float without connection. Rooms rearrange based on intention. And questions manifest as physical weight. Here, gravity responds to doubt. If you question what's real, you may fall upwards. Do not ask where you are. The scar might. Answer. Some visitors become statements. Some become riddles. Some are still being solved. The Logic Scar on Vecron 9. This is what happens when meaning breaks containment. You've completed your passage through fractured procedure and dimensional malpractice. You've stood where thought displaced matter, where alternate selves came to collect their debt, where science became the dream of something trying to wake up power inside you. Thank you for traveling with Star Tours Unlimited. Please check your self-state upon re-entry, and if you are not the same person who boarded, we hope the new you enjoys the view. Until next cycle. May your world remain contained. Welcome, honored guests. You've arrived at Section 9 of Vault Exile Protocol, our most prestigious containment corridor, where exiled beings from high-order dimensions are stored permanently in low-resolution drift. These are not prisoners of war. These are convicted criminals, tried and sentenced in their native realms. Their crimes were so vast, so existentially corrosive, that they were cast out of their own universes entirely. Our universe, Dimension 4242, is the multiverse's final lockbox. And today, you'll see 3 of the worst. Please remain aboard. They cannot reach you, but they will see you. Brockthune the Split-Eater crime, omnivorous violation of local timeline variance law. Origin dimension, Excori 7, fractal time strata permitted. Conviction, 3.1 billion life pattern devourings. Brockthune's universe allowed every decision to split into a branching timeline, each person becoming infinite selves. He hunted the branches. He didn't kill people. He devoured every alternate version of them. Every could have been, every second chance, every gentle deviation. When his victims cried, they weren't mourning death. They were mourning everything they never got to be. Now he floats, sealed inside a convulsing memory mass that warps visibly around its edges. You'll see shapes break the surface of his skin. They're trying to get out. Versions of him. Versions of you. The core of his body is fused with 11-dimensional thought bone. He'll never be whole again, but he's never alone. Brockthune the Split-Eater. He didn't just kill your future. He ate it. The Skin Shepherd of Zek-9. Crime. Unauthorized cultivation of weaponized biosympathy fields. Origin dimension. Zek-9. Emotion-reactive terraforming permitted in religious zones only. Conviction. 96 planets. Fully skinned. He once bred worlds like livestock. Zek-9 developed living planets with skin-like crusts, designed to amplify devotion. The Shepherd abused this tech, cloning emotional topography, stretching neural feedback flesh across entire moons, and raising worshipful armies from the psychic fallout. Everywhere he went, the surface became skin. Every building, a ribcage. Every starport, a wound. Now, he floats in 4,242 as a leathery sack of pulsing nerve tissue, covered in mouths that whisper prayers. They always say the same thing. Feed me the faithful. Guests are asked not to make eye contact with any eye structures. If a mouth speaks in your language, report it. The skin shepherd of Zek 9, he wanted worship. Now he's all congregation. Dr. Trinaxis. Jewel crime. Unlicensed development and dispersal of communicable gravity virus origin dimension, Vikel Theta, gravitational consciousness shared across public space. Conviction. Collapse of one planetary system, multiple irreparable paradoxes. He was a genius. In his home dimension, gravity was emotional, a shared construct, a cultural bond. He turned it into a plague. Dr. Trinaxis' jewel encoded gravitational significance into a transmissible waveform, a gravity virus that inverted social weight. Mountains lifted. People collapsed into personal singularities. Entire cities wept themselves downward into molten cores. He was caught attempting to fold grief into a weapon. Now, he is sealed here, folded flat across 7 kilometers of inert hull plate. You may see his handprint rise from the metal. It will retract when acknowledged. He is alive. He is aware. And he cannot move. Dr. Trinaxis' jewel. The only thing heavier than his sentence is the guilt he refused to carry. You have now completed Criminal Files, Volume 1. You have witnessed atrocities not just of war, but of thought. Each of these beings once held power beyond reckoning, and now they float, crumpled, whispering, remembering. Thank you for touring Vault Exile Protocol with Star Tours Unlimited. Please delete any footage taken near the observation deck. They do not like to be filmed. Until next cycle. May you never matter enough to be exiled. Welcome back, honored guests. This is Criminal Files, Volume 2, featuring beings whose sentences were not merely eternal, but insufficient. These entities are not restrained. They are simply in the long, slow process of not escaping. Exiled to Universe 4242 for crimes beyond their own physics, they now drift, grasping, weeping, burning, whispering. You are advised to observe at a distance. They do not wish to be seen. Let us begin. Roke-Zin, the Planet Keeper crime. Unlawful planetary displacement, mass abduction of sentient ecosystems. Origin dimension, the Gravient March, where ownership is enforced by gravitational dominance. Roke-Zin drifted too close to a Class 5 habitable world. When he saw it, blue, fragile, flickering with civilization, he simply reached out and took it. Now he floats through vacuum, cradling that planet against the cratered mass of his torso. He won't speak. He won't let go. Sensors confirm the planet is still geologically active. Its surface pulses like a heartbeat. And sometimes, if you boost the signal feed, you can hear the screams rise through his ribs. Roke-Zin just shushes them, softly, lovingly. "It's mine now," he was once recorded saying. "It followed me home." Roke-Zin, the Planet Keeper. He didn't conquer that world. He adopted it. Cirrus of the Final Page crime. Universal idiocide. Uncreation of an entire language that held physical form. Origin dimension. The lexicon spiral, where spoken languages matter. Cirrus was once a scholar priest of the living tongue. He wrote a word that unwrote every other. It rippled outward. Every noun became vapor. Every thought collapsed. Entire cities crumbled into dust because they lost their names. He now exists as a partially vaporized humanoid, his skin sloughing in loops of burned scripture. Around his skull orbits a halo of molten pages, each one a sentence too dangerous to read aloud. Approach with auditory dampeners active. He's known to murmur the beginning of the word he used, and the ending still hasn't arrived. Cyrus of the Final Page. His silence is not mercy. It's unfinished. Nemifrax, the breach orphan crime. Infliction of an unsanctioned exit event upon a class null plane origin dimension. Unknown. She came through a crack. Nemifrax is a child-shaped entity, formed entirely of negative pressure and residual grief. She was discovered standing inside a collapsed observatory, weeping smoke, whispering names that no longer resolve. She didn't kill her dimension. She simply left too hard. Now, Nemifrax drifts through 4242, leaving a faint trail of ghost language and flickering lullabies. When she passes too near a satellite, your dreams may fill with empty cradles. And sometimes, one rocks back. Her file ends in a question mark. Nimifrax, the breach orphan. She didn't mean to escape. She just wanted somewhere else. You have now completed Criminal Files Volume 2. These aren't just monsters. They're consequences. Reactions to power without shape, to emotions too vast for their home dimensions to tolerate. They've been brought here, not to be changed, but to be held. Thank you for touring Vault Exile Protocol with Star Tours Unlimited. Until next cycle, observe from a distance, and never mistake containment for peace. Welcome once again, honored guests. You have arrived at Vault Exile Protocol, Criminal Files, Volume 3. This cycle, we focus on entities whose crimes weren't physical, but arcane. Beings who used power not meant for linear time. Wielders of magic, ritual, dimensional mathematics, and recursive ruin. Some were sorcerers, some were accidents, some were gods who spoke in symbols. Let us begin. Lirveth the Unmaker crime, magical recursion breach / cross-dimensional necromancy without containment, origin dimension. Vile Runeth, a spell-locked realm where magic is regulated like radiation. Lirveth was once a master of the 13th Fold, a class of reality shapers, licensed to reshape time itself. She broke protocol. In a single incantation, she summoned versions of herself from 5,000 parallel threads and consumed them for power, and attempted a forbidden ascension sigil. The moment she cast it, her dimension sealed her midspell. Her hand frozen in motion, her mouth suspended on the final syllable. They exiled that moment. Not her body, her intent. Now she drifts in our skies, eyes glowing, cloak billowing in vacuum. Her spell never completes, but the magic leaks anyway. Nearby ships report spontaneous combustion, memory inversion, and hallucinated familiars. Lirveth the Unmaker, she's still casting, and the universe hasn't told her to stop. Kioxis of the Rooted Path crime, interplanar grafting, biological corruption of 3 pocket universes, origin dimension, Drawnker Vale, where botanical life is bound to genetic law. Kioxis was a biomancer, a gardener of genomes, a priest of organic design. She spliced other dimensions into her trees. Entire realities became root systems, cities digested by bark, blood turned to sap, thought reduced to pollen. Now, her form floats within a sealed terrarium the size of a warship. Vines stretch in every direction, twitching with faces, none hers. Each blossom hums with languages never spoken aloud. Kioxis of the Rooted Path. She didn't grow gardens, she grew extinction. Voxen, last bell of the End Choir crime, auditory weaponization of terminal prophecy, self-fulfilling extinction chants, origin dimension, Orsval Tet, where time is harmonic and prophecy is law. Voxen was a singer, a death chime, the final syllable of a prophecy carved into sound. She sang the end too early. Entire timelines collapsed, futures folded inward. The present turned to ash in a single octave. Now she floats, mute, encased in crystal cordstone. Her body glows faintly with unreleased cadence. Her lips remain parted. The next note will finish the song. Guests are forbidden to approach within auditory range. Subtle resonance may result in self-erasure or transtemporal guilt seizures. Voxen, last bell of the End Choir. She is the final verse, and she's still breathing. You have now witnessed Criminal Files, Volume 3. Today's convicts were not warriors, but artists, scientists, mystics, architects of consequence. They sought transformation, immortality, perfection. What they found instead was us. Thank you for flying Star Tours Unlimited. You have been observing spellwork so catastrophic, it was thrown into a place with no magic at all. Until next cycle, do not answer any whispers, especially if they rhyme. Welcome aboard once again, honored travelers. You are now entering Criminal Files, Volume 4, where the crimes aren't just against people, but against the very rules of existence. These are beings who tampered with meaning, intention, and memory itself. They didn't just act. They rewrote the laws of cause, thought, and identity. Let us begin. Vorth Ek 11, the Refractor crime, refractive inversion of causal flow, origin dimension, sectary prism, where light and logic are equivalent. Vorth wasn't a philosopher. He was an engineer. He altered cause and effect by manipulating reflected light, reversing not events, but the intentions behind them. Entire cities apologized before they attacked. Babies were punished for crimes their parents would later commit. Even death began to happen in reverse. bodies rebuilding into terrified survivors. He now floats within a polychrome containment prism, reality fractured around him. Sometimes he glints at you in a reflection that shouldn't exist. And winks. Vorth Ek 11. He didn't bend time. He bent understanding. Threxil Morvan, the Moldfather crime. Uncontrolled generative idiospore infection origin dimension, polymind belt, where thought is viral and reproductive. Threxil created an idea so infectious, it sprouted biological colonies in listeners. One sentence from him, and you'd start to grow things. Limbs, eyes, languages. None of them yours. Whole stations became swollen thought hives, now sealed in a quarantine tomb. Threxil's only voice is a pulsing cyst that whispers through walls. No one knows what the sentence was. Only that when heard, you begin to imagine it, and then it begins to grow. Threxil Morvan. He weaponized thought. And it's still blooming. Zelmar of the Folded Faces crime. Theft and wear of over 10,000 multiversal identities. Origin dimension, unknown, believed to be a self-evolved identity parasite. Zelmara never had a face. She took others, wore them like masks, became them in thought, speech, behavior, even memory. Whole populations forgot their names, only to find them walking away on her body. She now drifts in a silence cube, a blank humanoid shape. No face, no eyes, but you'll swear she knows you. She smiles when no one speaks. Zelmara of the Folded Faces. She didn't lie. She replaced. You have now completed Criminal Files, Volume 4. These were not just trespassers. They were editors of reality, and reality does not forgive revisions. Thank you for flying Star Tours Unlimited. Until next cycle, do not look into unfamiliar mirrors. And if you forget your name, keep walking. Greetings, travelers. This is Criminal Files, Volume 5. Your direct line to the minds that tried to rewrite existence, only to find themselves written out. These beings didn't just seek power, they sought escape. Escape from gravity, from memory, from causality, from the truth that even freedom has borders, and those who cross them often wind up here. Let us begin. Chronovar Thale, the self-exiled crime. Non-origin dimension, Vaneth Prime. Origin point of time flow research current size, approximately 1 Booth void in diameter. Chronovar Thale was the first to conquer time. He did not build a machine. He became one. He cut himself loose from cause, entropy, and orbital gravity. He became untouchable, unlocatable, unmoored from every coordinate in his own universe. And so, he drifted. Eventually, inevitability caught up with him in the worst way. He drifted into Universe 4242. Now he floats here. A god-sized anomaly with no substance, no crime, just a perpetual murmur across all scanners. I meant to go home. Ships that drift too close report spontaneous aging, inverted memory sequences, and full system regression. There's nothing to hold him with. There's nothing to let him go. Chronovar Thal. He invented time travel, and exiled himself from time. Sken L of the Mirror Cradle crime. Consciousness duplication assault. Origin dimension. Elevon spiral, where all dreams are shared networks. Sken L wanted more than memory. He wanted echoes. So he duplicated his mind, then duplicated that copy, then made copies of the copies. He flooded his world with versions of himself, each slightly worse, each still him. Eventually, there was no real Skenel, just an ocean of mirrors, arguing about who was first. He now floats as a cloud of glimmering brain tissue fragments, each one with its own voice. Sometimes they sink, sometimes they scream. Guests are advised not to reply if you hear your own voice calling your name. Sken L of the Mirror Cradle. He didn't clone himself. He committed self-genocide. Protraxis Ult, the Loop Seller crime. Exploitation of micro-loop economics across fractured civilizations. Origin dimension, Clatrix Divide. A culture built on localized reality loops. Protraxis Ult made his fortune by selling artificial time loops. Personal paradises locked in 7-second bliss. But the loops were faulty. Some broke. Some expanded. Some merged. Entire populations became loop-corrupted hybrids. One planet still thinks it's in the middle of a sentence, centuries later. Protraxis now drifts in a stuttering glitch field, stuck mid-sales pitch, eternally blinking at a camera that no longer exists. The loop he's in has no exit. Protraxis Ult. He sold time by the slice, and got eaten by the refund. You have now completed Criminal Files, Volume 5. These weren't madmen. They were mapmakers, explorers, pioneers of error. They didn't mean to end up here. They just didn't check the return route. Thank you for flying Star Tours Unlimited. Until next cycle, watch your coordinates, and never outrun your own ending.